thank you so much for joining us today. This is the end of a really great weekend and a really great project, and the beginning of some really great assets and tools and resources for 3 great nonprofits to take advantage of. So I just want to give a shout out to our first team lead of the nonprofit who is here as part of Hornet Attain, and it's Kelly. Hey, Kelly. And I know she is really excited to hear from Haley's team and see what they put together over the weekend, as we all are. If we do, the 2 other nonprofit leads will be joining us as the other team members come on. But with 3 presentations, we've asked each of the teams to keep it to between 12 and 15 minutes long, depending how things go. The team lead from the nonprofit may have time for a question or 2, may not, but what we will do for you is we will provide all of these files, all the assets that you're going to see today in a Google Drive link. So you'll have all of the presentation materials, all the assets, everything. And then it's really important to know that this group of people and more who will be joining us are really potentially here to support you should you be interested in going further. There's a lot of people who work for agencies, own agencies, are communication specialists, are graphic designers. And so we encourage you. In years past, a handful of the nonprofits have ended up working with an agency or 2 or people or freelancers or whatever, if there's something that really speaks to you. So I have everybody's contact information, as does Haley. And if there's something that's just totally wow, and I need to work with this person, then we encourage you to do so. We offer, special nonprofit pricing and all the jazz and everything. But this weekend is really about everything free, everything for you, and great, and really providing a package that you can use. So should that obviously likely not be in the budget or typical moving forward, we've established a package of assets that you actually need. So, and I really want to thank Alfrena Ford. Couldn't be here today. She is the leader of Social Venture Partners of Sacramento. And I mentioned this earlier in the weekend, but we wouldn't be successful without the help of Alfrena. She really underwrites the operational costs for this weekend to happen. So your lunch reimbursements, the ability to have these templates created, the t-shirts, everything that you see here and that you've witnessed as part of the weekend, some of the media that we put together for the winning team. So Alfrena Ford and the Social Venture Partners of Sacramento, I just really encourage you guys to reach out if you're interested to learn more. So with that said, looks like a handful of people are joining. I do want to welcome Clay here because he is part of the Child Abuse Prevention Center. And then I'm going to turn it over to the team. So hi, Clay, how are you?
I'm good. Good to see you. Thank you for letting me be here.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. We're just getting started. I just quickly said, so the Hornet Attain team is going to be presenting first, and then we will actually be moving over to the Child Abuse Prevention Center. So that said, I'm going to kick it over to Haley and team. And if you guys could all mute yourselves except for the team that is presenting, that'd be great. And we will go from there. So Haley, over to you.
Perfect. Well, hello again, Kelly. Thanks for coming. We did a lot of work this weekend, and it never seems like it's going to get done, but it gets done. It's really exciting, and we're really excited to show it to you. So let's dig in. So background, as you know, Project Attain, the overarching company, is a collaborative workforce development initiative that helps adults complete their educational path to prosperity, specifically near completers who are within 15 credits of getting their education or completing their education. These individuals who end up going through this and getting their post-secondary education earn more and suffer less unemployment. Their children lead healthier lives and seek education for themselves. Educated adults volunteer, vote, and depend less on support programs. Sacramento State is one of the 8 Northern California higher education institutions participating in Project Attain, and thus we have Hornet Attain. So Hornet Attain will be marketed to any adult wanting to return to Sac State and finish their degree Their initial focus of Sac State is on near completers. Hornet Attain works out of the College of Continuing Education, but will be graduating students across all of the Sacramento State colleges. The situation, so strengths, you have a lot of support from Project Attain and from the Dean of the College of Continuing Education, so that's really awesome. 1 in 20 people in the Sacramento area are Hornets, so that's just a really great community tie. And educated volunteers are more likely, or educated adults are more likely to volunteer. So eventually, once this program has really dug in, you will have this cyclical cycle of giving. I think that's redundant, but it's there. Threats. So COVID-19 has created new and increasing barriers to education. People have lost jobs, lost incomes. They're also having to take on more schooling their own children. Potentially. There are also some weaknesses starting from scratch. This is a weakness. It could also be an opportunity because you have so much room to grow. And then people don't typically graduate from the College of Continuing Education. So that alumni base, while it is there, it's different than your typical alumni base. Opportunities. By 2020, 65% of all jobs in the economy will require post-secondary education. Again, this could go on the threats or weaknesses, but this is really an opportunity that Hornet Attain will be able to maximize on. So it's just there's a lot of space for them to do what they do. It is faster and more cost effective to help someone complete their degree and enter the workforce than an incoming freshman. So this speaks to the corporate donors and their needs. Internal hires receive higher performance reviews than external hires. And then COVID-19 has also helped normalize learning and made it, teachers are getting more familiar, students are learning more about it. So it's becoming an easier option for people. The objective. Our objective was to provide Hornet Attain with a foundation to be able to solicit donors, corporate and individuals when their program is ready to launch. Hornet Attain's objective is to help 500 near completers finish their degree. At an estimated $16,000 pay raise connected with degree completion, 500 new graduates would add a minimum of $8 million to our economy annually. So that's really awesome. And the concept. So we spent a lot of time spewing out random words. At one point we had Hornet burritos. I think Christy was just hungry. But what we kind of settled on, and with Drew's help, invest in yourself, the community, the future. Investing in yourself might sound selfish, but you have to help yourself before you help others. It's the old airplane mask situation. When an adult learner is able to finish their degree, they are increasing their upward mobility. The higher annual salary associated with the degree completion adds more money to the economy. Their children are more likely to seek education themselves, and they are more likely to donate and volunteer, creating a cycle of education investment. And one of the challenges is how do you create a tagline or a motto that speaks to the students going through the program and to the people looking to invest and donate and give back? So that there really tackles that student, like, why do I need to go back and get my second degree? But if you're looking at HP or Intel, how does this speak to them? Investing in themselves. If they give to Hornet Attain, they can help increase their workforce potential. They can help their own employees with their education, fostering that from within. And that gives back to their community, who they're pulling on, and that gives back to their future also. So we found this bridge between the donors and the students themselves, which we were really excited to land on. So applying that, I will hand it over to Kayla, who went through some audience analysis.
There's the unmute button. Hi, Kelly, good to see you again. I changed into my colors for the occasion. So I worked on the audience analysis deck. I took away two things from our discussion, which was who are our donors, what is the difference between an individual donor, a corporate donor, and then how can we create a strategy with all of this great all these great ideas that we produced in the last 2 days. So what it was going to be a 1-pager originally turned out into be a 10, 11-page deck. So going over 3 deliverables. First, we created a messaging map for the overall idea of Project Attain that covers your value proposition, your target audience, the pillars that we believe are investing in students, the community, and the future in families, and then the proof points around your cause that support those pillars. Donor audience analysis that covers both individuals and corporate donors, as far as what kind of people are they, how much money do they make, which counties in Sacramento, surrounding the Sacramento area, do they live in. There's about 4 top counties. Donor sentiments, what do they care about? What do they appreciate? What are their life philosophies? And then for the corporate analysis, I went into the Sacramento Economic Council website, and it turns out that they have a ton of information on, what are the top businesses in Sacramento? Where does everybody work? And where did they go to college? So I pulled some of that data and created a few slides to kind of give you businesses that we recommend you target first as corporate donors, because there's a very high likelihood that they were Sacramento State graduates or college graduates. They move into industries in Sacramento, and they might feel a strong sentiment to give back to the community the way they might have received help. And then the last is a promotion strategy, which is going to be about a 6 to 12 month launch plan of all of the ideas that we generated over the multiple campaigns. So you'll have what campaign should be launching in which month to get you off the ground for the first year. And this is a slide of our target individual donor right here.
Yeah, so this was pulled from the data that I told you about, Kelly. So I can also include that raw data, but Kayla did a really nice job making it more digestible. So looking at that, it is a majority of white women with an average age 43. Most of them had college, are college graduates or have even had further education. There are more of them are employed full-time, and their household income is $104,000. $104,787. These people who are giving back, they're already giving back in other places as well. So they've contributed to educational organizations. The real push is getting them to contribute to Hornet Attain. So now we have the corporate one-sheeter. What we did here is we really focused the content on why the corporation benefits through this. So you can see California's workforce will be short 1.1 million college educated workers by 2030. The cost, and it's an estimated cost of $4,000 to recruit, hire, and train a new employee. And the average near completer through Hornet Attain is only about $3,825 in tuition away from their degree. So we really focused on those tangible functional benefits here, giving them the facts they need to be able to go and talk to their companies and say this is why we need to be here. The single donor one sheet focused much more on the emotional benefits. How can we tie people in so that they can connect to the students and who the students are? So here we called out more that 53% of the people 53% are people of color. College students with children are 10 times less likely to complete their degree within 5 years, even though they have a higher GPA on average than students without children. They're more likely to have health insurance, more likely to have a retirement plan, more likely to volunteer, and have children who attend college and be more significantly happier once they've completed their degree. You can see kind of if you flip back and forth from them, they're very similar, but there are slight tweaks. Here we have giving opportunities. On the corporate one, we had investment opportunities. So small changes like those, but while keeping the overall same look and feel, so the messaging is consistent, is how we went there. And I think Sam wanted to talk a little bit about the design itself.
Yes, so as you can see, very familiar colors. And because Hornet Attain is a sub-branch from Sac State, it makes sense. And because Hornet Attain is a new program, it's a brand that is recognizable. So when people see this, they know, like, okay, yes, this is Sacramento State. This is where the funds will go. So everything relates. And this template is actually off of one of Sac State's, so it's very on brand. It uses the same fonts, it has the same layout, so if you ever need another brand too, it's easy to edit, and you can go on to Sac State's website and actually look for additional templates too if that's what you want. So it's great for editing and creates consistency.
Yeah, like Sam mentioned, since you have been working predominantly in Word, being able to utilize these templates make it something that you can use right away, and you don't have to go outside and be like, hey, does anybody have Adobe? So that was important for us as well. And so another beautiful image. And Christy.
All right. Hi, Kelly. Yeah, this is, it's been an amazing process. A lot of fun, a lot of questions, a lot of great feedback and collaboration. This next section that we're going to go through in a second here, I would love to take all the credit for, but obviously it's a full team effort. And even one of the other people that we had working with us yesterday couldn't be here. And I'm going to just say most of these great ideas are probably his. But at the end of the day, we know that you had a big ask. You wanted social media strategy. You wanted, what channels do I actually need to be on? Why? What do I do there? And how do I do that? So we're going to go through a variety of those different channels and actually the order of which that we think you should start on them and why. And before anything else, we have about 6 more pages of strategy that we're going to give you afterwards. So this is going to be a quick down and dirty, basically hierarchy of why you should use social media and the platforms that we think should fit the need. So why it's important: overall, 3.6 billion people use social media. That's a big number. 79% of the population in the US alone has a social networking profile. I'm going to skip down these last 2 bullets, which are really the most important. 55% of people who engage with nonprofits on social media end up taking some sort of action, and 59% of those people actually donate money. So you need to be there, just because, if nothing else, people are donating in that space. And we're going to show you the platforms that we think would help that best. So the story at the end of the day is yeah, you're good. You can go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn, it's where your individual donors are and your corporate donors are, and a lot of where the recent graduates, myself included. I'm a Hornet myself. So we think at first, if nothing else, start on this platform and start building out that presence of communication to your individual donors, your corporate donors. But also you want to make sure that you're talking to your current students, because they are also your advocates at the end of the day for these types of projects. So that's for LinkedIn. Frequency wise, we know you're getting started, so 1 to 2 times a week if you can. And as things start growing and scaling, then you can slowly expand upon those types of things. But yeah, great platform to start with and get the foundation going. Going into Facebook, as whether or not we like it and want to be on it or not, it's where a lot of nonprofits are. About 2.5 billion people use Facebook every month. 84% of them use Facebook to share their support for the nonprofits that they're supporting, or even create their own campaigns. So it's just a lot of where the activity is, especially in the nonprofit world where people are actively donating. Beyond that, this platform is great to do a couple things. Really, it's great for brand awareness, creating conversation about what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you are, and really the impact it's giving in the community. So it's a lot of that stat-driven information, because when a potential donor sees you on your website, they're like, okay, well, what are they actually talking about? And they need to see that you're engaged, you're active, you have a presence somewhere. And so your LinkedIn's going to do that, your Facebook's going to do that. They're going to see that you're not just a website, you're an active conversation in the community. And so this is an important place to kind of have all that conversation as well. Going into the next platform, Instagram. It's certainly another platform that you don't necessarily have to have, but it's great for those inspiration stories. So the success testimonials. We actually have a couple pictures of Kayla in here, which all made us a little teary-eyed, because it's like, this is just a perfect success story already. But this is where you get those tearjerkers, that emotional appeal that you bring in your current Hornets and your graduate Hornets, and you kind of bridge that conversation together in a more impactful emotional appeal. So another great platform to kind of drive that part home. the last channel here, MailChimp. So at the end of the day, you want to be collecting all these potential donors or existing donors or everything in between. And MailChimp is a great platform for nonprofits to at least get that system of data going that allows you to repeat those conversations through newsletters, through dedicated conversations and more personalized outreach. I think at the beginning, you can have up to about 2,000 contacts in here and it's free. So all of these things are things you can do for free. We have a handful of actual strategies, ideas, big ideas that you can use as actual marketing, fundraising tactics. But I know we're running out of a little bit of time, so I'm just going to give you one idea, and we have about 5 to 6. But one of the campaign ideas was to, let me pull it up here, create a mile for mile matching program. So helping these Hornets cross the finish line. And basically, it's a tiered campaign, 5 miles challenge. You get basically a corporate company to sponsor an athlete in the Hornet program or marketing department, or anybody who wants to participate, someone to donate for the exercise, because we know right now, the only things we're really doing is actually going out and exercising, running, hiking, biking. So get someone to sponsor that mile. It's 5 miles a month, 100 miles a month. Get your company's employees to get out there and exercise and help someone actually get an education through that empowerment. So that's one of the ideas. And then we have a full list of other things that we won't have time to get into, but we can keep going from here.
Yeah, but all of those ideas are going to be given to you. Also, I just wanted to call out, you might have seen this little Hornet logo here. Alara just couldn't stand having just words, so she did mock up a little logo very quickly. Obviously, feel free to use it, feel free to improve it, feel free to completely get rid of it and do something else, but she just wanted to have some sort of placeholder there. So, and then I will give it to her to talk about the website wireframe as well.
Thanks. So this is the wireframe that you asked for, and it's sticking to Sac State's branding standards and keeping it kind of simple and easy to digest. So we're just going to have the basic information about the nonprofit on the main page, and that leads to a secondary page with more information about where they can donate. And there it is mocked up.
So that's all. That's what we did. Do you have any questions?
I want to cry. It's phenomenal. I feel like I have an amazing team that was able to take the little bit that I shared and take it to a whole nother level. I think there's so many ideas that we can take back and share with our dean and share with our team and see what we can implement, because it has the potential of both being exciting and scary to start something new. But I feel like we have a little bit more in our arsenal right now, and we can take this and present it. And I love everything you did. It was like so on brand, and I feel that it's not a big derivation from what the universities are doing, but more of an enhancement. I'd love to I want to know what all of the ideas are that I didn't get to hear and delve into it. And I can't thank you enough. I feel really supported and encouraged and really excited.
Awesome. Well, we're really glad to hear that. And when you do get up and running and launch this mile for mile challenge, I will definitely help, because I'm already running. So might as well get people to give money for that if I'm going to put my feet out on the pavement. So
that's phenomenal. I'm not running, so I'll give you money to do that for me.
I think that maybe defeats the purpose. We'll find a third party.
Great job. Hornet Attain, a round of applause. Excellent job. Really good. Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on to Matt Lady and the team that worked. I want to welcome Clay Merrill. He was able to join us, and he is the team lead for the Child Abuse Prevention Center here in Sacramento. And Matt Lady is going to take it away. Over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Heather. The first group, you guys did great, so it's a fun one to follow up on, to try to not top you, but do just as good. So I'm the team lead for the Child Abuse Prevention Center. Do I need to share my screen, or is someone doing that?
It would be great if you could.
Oh, if I can. Okay, awesome. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Let me grab it. Share. Does that work?
You're good.
Cool.
you could enlarge it.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Let's zoom in like that. That might help a little bit. Cool. So the Child Abuse Prevention Center, me and my team is awesome. They did great work. I was just helping direct them. The Child Abuse Prevention Center is doing great work helping families and keeping them together. They have in-home visitation services. They provide educational resources, and they're doing great work as it is. It's not trying to make their nonprofit more effective. It's really just trying to make sure they get more funding and support so they can stay open and keep helping more people. So that is the background for us today. So we've helped put together some deliverables, tactics, and piece them together to help improve the communications for the center. So onto the situation analysis, we did it a little bit different than the first group. So the context is that the CAP Center helps around 140,000 people per year. That's children and adults, the whole family. And over 96% of them actually don't need CPS intervention again. So after the in-home visits occur, they are pretty set, and the family is much healthier and working towards staying together, because once a child is taken away and in the foster care and CPS, those systems, it gets really grim, and the stats are staggering in terms of how that leads to an unhealthy life and troubled life. So a problem is COVID has significantly impacted nonprofits along with many other businesses but especially nonprofits, to have in-person meetings, fundraising events, as well as government funding has been pinched. They have been spread thin this year, and we're likely to see that continue into 2021. So an additional challenge is that child abuse is such a heavy, emotional, just tough topic to talk about. Oftentimes with marketing and advertising, you can just present the problem, agitate it, and then provide a solution. It's really tough to do that when it comes to humans and kids. It's not like the SPCA with Sarah McLachlan with it's like sad puppies and music and song, like, right? Like we can't really do that. So that's one of the challenges, is to take that feeling but focus on the positives, the outcomes, the solutions. So our solutions was requested of us was a few different deliverables, which is a 30-second video storyboard, 30-second radio script, a program fact sheet, an impact fact sheet, and print ads. And we did this with all positive, lighthearted messaging, focusing on the outcomes and still trying to make it data driven with storytelling to lead to the call to action of a donation. So I'm going to, I just talked about that. We have these 5 deliverables. The concept onto really focusing on this, our programs are effective. They're 96% reduction in child abuse cases in communities that we serve, or the CAP Center serves, right? It's statewide and nationwide. So while the CAP Center headquarters is in Sacramento, the communities it serves is much further than that. One additional challenge that the CAP Center faces is that they work with so many other organizations and brands. It's really tough for them to stand out on their own. A lot of people aren't saying, don't even know they're working directly with the CAP Center. Sometimes they feel like they're working with other organizations, and it's very tough to get testimonials and social proof. Not many people want to raise their hand and say, yeah, I used to abuse my child, and now the CAP Center helped me, and now it's better. Like, no one really wants to admit to that. It's really tough. So just some additional challenges that the CAP Center faces. So now we kind of get into the creative and some of the deliverables, and I'm going to hand it over to Logan to talk about the video storyboard concept.
Hello, everybody. So like Matt was saying, we really just wanted to stay away from talking about the negative outcomes of child abuse. And so I really wanted to focus on the family and centering around connecting the programs, the CAP Center services into the storyboard. So it was very self-explanatory. I wanted to just really make it very basic for the production team as well. So if you can see this and read this, you would probably read all of this in about 30 seconds or so. And what the outcome of the storyboard was just really to hit the heartstrings of these donors and really get them excited about the CAP Center and letting them know that the CAP Center services other organizations basically. So, for example, in slide number 2, that's probably an important slide to focus on because it has the Birth and Beyond program in there, Foster Youth Initiative, and Black Infant Health. Making sure that donors are aware that the CAP Center isn't just really focusing on themselves, they are helping and branching out to other organizations that really need money as well, on top of the CAP Center. So this really just wanted to kind of just focus on the simplicity of making sure that the production team can either have a voiceover for the storyboard or even utilize this text over a still image or a B-roll shot. So this is really a very, very, not basic storyboard, but it really allows the production team to not focus so much on recording and making sure that the lighting and other people are involved in the story and involved in the messaging as well. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Logan. I'll take back over onto the radio concept. This was a late edition. Got a 30-second spot donated to us. So we wrote it up. I'll quickly read it and then explain a little bit more about it. So more than 96% of families who work with the Child Abuse Prevention Center do not need CPS intervention again. The center provides education and in-home visitation services throughout California to help prevent child abuse and neglect. But due to COVID-19, the CAP Center faces funding cuts. Your donations help ensure the Child Abuse Prevention Center can keep protecting children, building healthy families. To help the life of a child, visit www.thecapcenter.org and donate today. So the life of a child is this message, this theme that really worked well for them in the past. So we're going to continue at we don't need to reinvent the wheel. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So we like that life of a child. It's really focusing the emphasis on children. And while parents and adults are part of a family, we're really trying to impact the children involved and have them a healthy and better life because they're children. They can't always control the situation they're in. So by focusing on the life of a child and leading with this staggering statistic is more of a hook, we thought, rather than a linear storytelling. We kind of went with the staggering hook, then back to context, and then the close for the call to action to donate. And I'm going to pass it over to teammate Kyle for the fact sheets.
Hello, friends. So the impact fact sheet, the person receiving this, we were kind of thinking they generally need to make their decisions in like 9 seconds or less. So you've got about 9 seconds for them to either, kind of like a resume, you've got to get past that first little viewing. So that's how we kind of designed a lot of the copy here. Was we wanted an attention grabber at the top so that if they've got 3 seconds, they know your donations help thousands of families each year. And that also serves as a little hook to pull them in. And with this beautifully designed map that Jason made, it basically follows you down and explores. It's meant to kind of antagonize some curiosity. Your donations help thousands of families each year. How do they do that? And then if they've got 11 seconds, then they could hit the bolded ones. If they've got 13 seconds, they could get more granular there. But basically, the whole sheet of paper serves as sort of a very succinct and compact branded leave behind type thing, where it's got all of the information that they're going to need and a little QR code at the bottom that makes it they've got to start drawing up excuses so that they're not donated or something. Like, we made it so easy, they have to donate on the spot. We're trying to make them take the least amount of action, the least amount of barriers, because the problem isn't that the programs aren't working, like we said over and over, it's that we need your money to fund them. Awesome. So that brings us to the program fact sheets, which are a little more granular, but also kind of have the same purpose as the impact sheets. The impact sheet is more of a high-level overview, whereas the program fact sheets get very granular, where it answers all the questions where if people want to know where their money is going specifically, or what big programs you've got, or if you're interested, or people that are interested in programs. But again, this layout that was beautifully done by Jesse leads us from the beginning to the end, and the main point is to donate or contact us with all of the bullet points basically supporting that main conclusion there. So it's a little bit more granular, but if you've got, this is for the person that's got 30 whole seconds. So they get 30 seconds to read that whole thing, and you'll have a problem with the amount of donations you're receiving. There will just be too many donations after they read all of these facts. This brings us to our print ad here, which this is for traditional media, but also could be multi-purpose to some sort of display ads or very simple social media graphics. But this sticks with the theme that children are the center of what you do. Even though it is helping out the full family unit, it starts with the child, it's for the child. We're trying to save the lives of children through mending family relationships. So it's straight and to the point with the branding up top, and includes, let's help children thrive. That is, at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do. And you, the person reading it, can make the difference with their money. And then we get right into hooking them in with all those donations. So then I'll swing it back to Matt.
That is it, and that is all. And I just want to give my team a quick shout out again. We have Amber, Jesse, Logan, Kyle, Graham, and Tanya. A few members had to leave early, so they're not here to hear my praises, but they were excellent, very creative and passionate in providing proactive and thoughtful ideas. And I was just able to have a pretty stress-free weekend, which is a very positive experience for me. So Clay, that is it, and that is all from your team.
Oh, this is awesome, you guys. This is really, really great. Kelly said she wanted to cry. I think I was, like, during this whole thing. It's just so awesome that you guys took this weekend to help us out and provide us with the stuff that, I mean, honestly, I love the fact that I can just take this and probably within a matter of days or weeks, we can do something with this. So this is wonderful. You just handed it to me right here. I can do lots of stuff with it. So this is awesome. I need to hire Kyle. Yeah, I need to hire Kyle because, he needs to bring me all these donations, man. So anyway.
I'll be the donation counter.
Donation counter. You're making it rain, baby. Thank you so much. This is so awesome. I'm very, very pleased. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Clay. Appreciate it.
And Clay, we'll be in touch in particular with you. We are working with Paul Zagaris from Video Vets, is the production company that will be producing that 30-second commercial. The expectation is that will probably, like this, we don't expect this to be final, because there is a lot of equity that goes into producing it. We want to make sure it could potentially be evergreen and useful. So we'll collaborate with you on that, set something up. The 30-second commercial will be produced by Entercom. That was a late additional media sponsor that Christy was able to secure. So that's all free of charge. We have advertising commitments from the Sacramento News and Review and a couple other ones that are escaping my mind because Christy was in charge of it. But all of those print ads can be fine-tuned and approved by you and your team, and hopefully put out into the space so that Kyle can start taking donations at the donation windows.
I love it. Yes, that's great. Thank you, Christy, and thank you everyone for doing that. That's so awesome. I'm so thrilled.
Cool. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Terrazas and his team on behalf of, actually first before I do that, I want to welcome Daphne. She joined us just a few minutes late. She's the team lead for the Sacramento Children's Chorus. So great to have you here, Daphne. Thank you so much for kind of potentially rearranging your schedule with your son's birthday. We really appreciate you being here. And I'm going to turn it over to Chris.
There we go. Let's try to unmute. How you doing, Daphne? Hi, everyone. First of all, did Clay leave? Oh no, I was gonna say Clay. If you want Kyle, you're gonna have to like jump over my dead body for him because he's we like Kyle. Uh-oh, what happened?
Just share again, maybe.
Oh no, what happened? No good joke goes unpunished.
She told you my mom did? Don't burn the grass.
Drew's outside.
All right.
Family thing going on. Hey, kiddos.
All right. I think we're there.
Cool.
I don't know what happened. Might have been the way it was. All right, can everyone see that?
We're good.
Perfect. Cool. Want to welcome Daphne. So actually we're missing some people, but they're gonna come and I'm gonna do my best to try to get this along. So what we had the Sacramento Children's Chorus, and we were so grateful to work on this nonprofit. Give you a little bit of background, and as if it needs any kind of a background, the Children's Chorus, Sacramento Children's Chorus, was actually a master's project by the person who started, the person who founded 28 years ago. And that's kind of exciting because this shows like some longevity and some real love that's been put inside of this. Our goal was to do this digital campaign for her, but actually it grew into this bigger thing. And now that we have Cole on the screen, he's gonna pick it up from there. Cole, you ready to go?
I am. How was my timing?
Your timing was most excellent.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna go to the next screen.
Correct. So I'll try not to read this word for word, but paraphrase. The challenges that we were presented with and that were outlined in our creative brief was the fact, similar to what a lot of us are going through with the COVID pandemic, but especially with a choir group, getting together, and as it was described by the client, a hyper spreader, when you're actually singing and projecting and in an indoor environment, which would be a better place to hold a choir. So that the way it's structured in itself made it a challenge. And then on top of that, the music elective in schools has slowly been cut. As budgets get tighter, we've seen a progression of schools just not offering this type of elective. And so where at one point word of mouth is the strongest spreader, let's say the strongest instigator of new members or new interest in joining the Sacramento Children's Chorus, now this association or this discovery of your love of music has been cut out of a lot of the standard curriculum in schools. And so where that was a frequent avenue, we're seeing less and less of that as an opportunity. And then just encapsulated in all of these difficulties is funding. And so with the lack of involvement, lack of students who actually pay a tuition, and lack of being able to hold events and concerts and some of these fundraising opportunities, it has all compiled and been difficult to funding. And then there was another nuance that was told to us in that when looking to attract donors, they usually want to support something that serves underserved populations. And the nature and structure of the Sacramento Children's Chorus at present day doesn't support those communities, just because it might be difficult to get to regular practices or rehearsals, and they don't have a busing system or something that would facilitate that. And not being in schools also makes it difficult for that. So those three challenges were the main ones we tried to address with our messaging and our brand positioning. And we can move on. Objectives. So part of the creative brief and some of the additional objectives that we added after our discussion with Daphne, the client. Started off, we're going to refresh the logo. So as it currently stands, there is somewhat of a perception of the group that this is your stereotypical, you see it in the movies, everyone's singing off key, no one's connected kind of choir group. And it's not that, it's a very professional environment. There's professional instructors and they take it seriously. It's less, and I'm painting this in my own words, but less of a summer camp, more of a team sport kind of thing. So they wanted to refresh the logo to promote higher engagement, but also convey that professional nature of the organization. So initial impression would be something that we need to take seriously. And then we created a messaging framework for any content developed in the future after we hand this off to be filtered through these brand lenses, and we'll get into that later. And then provide communication channel recommendations, not just for recruitment of both parents and students, but also for donors. And so our team put together different avenues, potentially funded avenues as well, and what we think would be the best approach for capturing those audiences. And then recommendations for post-COVID-19, because current state, it's somewhat of a wash. There's not much we can do to change the fact that you can't have large gatherings of people, but we can look towards the future, weather the storm, and then how are we going to come out of this full steam ahead. And so our target audience is the Sacramento region, because it is called the Sacramento Children's Chorus. We are looking for, there are certain rehearsal and practice centers, and so it needs to be in that area. And then also the San Juan Unified School District, SJUSD, is also a target. When we spoke to the client, there are avenues of bringing students and parents in to the fold by actually building out a program within the school itself. So rather than people from all over coming to one center, you can actually build it within the school, and some of that was funding that was provided through grants and such. And then the three demographic makeups we're looking at. So we're looking at parents of school-age children, grades K through 12. After 12, they tend to go off to college, do their own thing, but they still stay involved in the community. Donors, so arts, culture, interest, alumni, current parents, and then trying to build out more of a corporate sponsorship. So a lot of that is entailed in our messaging is what's in it for me, why would I sponsor, speaking to that more directly. And then students. So there's two categories of students. There's the older students who you might actually be able to speak to through social, and you might be able to market to and get them. It's that word of mouth, and it's that community. My friend's doing it, I want to do it, this looks cool, it's always interests me, how do I get involved? And then younger kids, we're not worried about so much. The younger kids, we would market to their parents, obviously. There's rules and stuff, we all know that. So those are our three audiences. And so for our brand messaging, that framework, we built into 3 buckets, and we picked these words. These words are internal, so professional, community, enriching. Those are our lenses. So when we pass off the new brand and the messaging guidelines and our media guidelines, as they start to execute that in their day-to-day, whether it is a client or a volunteer or an intern, we want them to be able to craft and direct messaging in these 3 areas. And so what are they and what do they entail? So professional, we already talked about perception that we wanted to shape through the initial impressions our brand and logo would convey. Professionalism is members practice their craft in the direction of music professionals. So in our discussion, we learned that there is a tuition, and the instructors are typically paid, and they have an education within the music education. And so we thought that was an important note to tell to your audiences, for the fact that if we're trying to get away from the common perception or the misconception that this is just a thrown together organization or singing experience, we thought we should highlight the fact of those things in the background that might not necessarily be seen as important, but might convey a higher sense of value. So an example of how that might look in a social post, for instance, would be me, Jessica Suderman. She holds a bachelor's degree in music education, a single subject teaching credential in music from Azusa Pacific University. And so that's highlighting a potential instructor, parents, donors, et cetera, might say, okay, well, I can see the value in this from the sense that my money is actually going towards a higher degree of instruction. And then community. So one of the great parts about the Sacramento Children's Course is that it helps build these long-lasting relationships, and it also ties you into a community similar to sports. One of the things in the creative brief that we called out was it appeals to the non-athletic community. So I'm not interested in sports, but I am interested in group building, extracurriculars. And so the same kind of sense of community you would get from having a lifelong sport, where it's you do it then, there's scholarship opportunities, you go to college, you do it for the college, or you do it as a hobby, graduate, your life, it's something that kind of follows you. That community is what we wanted to tie together and actually promote. We thought it was super valuable, and it provided value not only to parents, but to kids and to donors. So that is the value of belonging to a lifelong community of singers, musicians with a common interest. An example was belong to a community of young musicians where self-expression is developed, a musical community where mentorship and positive experience create lasting relationships. And then enriching. So enriching was more for donors and parents as far as the positive and valuable experience and engaging environment. So it's why would I take 6 hours out of my week, potentially more if there's travel, to bring my kid to the Sacramento Children's Course? And you have to really convey the value. And so professional community does it, but also it's developing skills. It's fun. You get to go to these events. It's fun for the community. And again, it's a lifelong skill. So that was some of our examples. Those are some bullet points, but anything that the team will do at the Sacramento Children's Course in the future should fall into one of these buckets. And if it doesn't fit or it doesn't have the right sense of tone or voice, then you need to reevaluate the messaging or the promotion that you're putting on. And then I will pass this over to Michelle to talk about.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Daphne. Nice to see you again. So we, based on our conversation, put together some thoughts on media. You know, we had talked a little bit about sometimes having a small budget to promote with. So we thought we would do a combination of some paid recommendations, some earned or PR opportunities, and then also how we can use your own channels like your Facebook page, your website, etc., to help promote and expand the followers for the Sacramento Children's Choir. So Chris, we can go to the next page. So we started out with some social media recommendations. This is a really good way to capitalize on exposure with no hard media costs attached to it. So the first recommendation is to really expand your following, you know, encouraging your members and their families to follow your pages, encouraging their friends who maybe aren't involved to also follow the pages, asking similar organizations and maybe some of the venues that you partner with so that you can all support each other and increase your social following. Another thing that we recommend is engaging more and encouraging dialogue. So it's not just a one-way communication of you putting out a message and people reading it. So, you know, things like tagging your sponsors or your members for specific posts or asking them questions or including polls, things like that, that encourage more of a two-way dialogue and deeper conversations. The next, and this is a little bit more to help help you be organized in how you have content, and so that you have content that's ready to go when you need a post or a newsletter or something, to have established content buckets with copy in them, or images, or whatever other assets are appropriate, so that you can sort of pull them off the shelf as needed and have them ready to turn around relatively quickly. And then scheduling out, perhaps creating a content calendar for the year, knowing, that you have a big holiday concert typically, or a spring concert, and how you want to be able to support those, having that all planned out so that you can see it in advance and be prepared for those things, so that they don't come up last minute and require a lot of time to implement. And then finally, this one we'll go into a little bit more detail later, is boosting your posts with a little bit of a paid budget. It can be a very low out-of-pocket cost, and it's great to deliver your messages to people who aren't your current followers, and target in a variety of ways, especially through Facebook. They have tremendous targeting capabilities, whether it's local parents or mom groups, philanthropists who are local, people who homeschool, or current members. It's really sky's the limit with the targeting on social media. This grid has a lot of information, and I know it's really hard to read. It's really a reference tool for you, but we put together, based on the top 4 platforms, sort of the audiences that we recommend targeting, the type of content that you could use, what the calls to action could be. So this is really more of a tool for you to have to refer to, but we did want to include it and touch on it just briefly during this call today. And then finally, our paid media recommendations. We talked about social a little bit already, but we also recommend potentially doing some paid search. So these are people who are already aware of the organization, and they're actively seeking information on it. So it's sort of that low-hanging fruit that we would be hoping to either become donors or new members. And we would focus specifically on a small set of very targeted keywords to keep the scale and the budget low. And then we would also encourage you to look at Google for their matching funds program for nonprofits to help, get a little bit of extra weight behind that campaign if you decided to move forward with it. Again, social, I won't go on about this too long. Like I said, it can be very small budgets. Targeting is amazing, and it's very wide reaching. Okay. And then finally, some traditional media recommendations. You had mentioned that some of the underwriters specifically like Capital Public Radio for the donor audience, and that's a great platform for that. We definitely think you should continue using that as those opportunities come up. For print, we actually recommend that you continue doing the trade deals. I think that's a great exposure for you with people who are already interested in that music community. But for newspaper, we would recommend using that more in a PR capacity versus paid advertising. Your dollars will go a lot further in digital and social media. You'll get a higher reach, and the targeting capabilities are just so much, they're much better within the digital sphere. And then finally, partnerships and PR. So we recommend, keeping those relationships with the local news outlets and reaching out to them for, whether it's community newspaper coverage or the local TV stations, getting them to come out and cover your events, or possibly, student highlights, or, things like that. And then if you may have these partnerships already, we didn't talk about this too much when we had our call, but if there are other choirs or bands that you partner with to do cross promotion of your events, that's a great way to get the message out to other similar organizations.
Cool. And at this point, Daphne, I want to pass it off. We had a visitor that came and helped us out with some of the creative, and I'm really excited to announce her. But before we get into this, I just want to let you know we did look at some logo refreshes. That was the initial ask. So we are going to show you a couple of those. Laura's going to take you through that journey. And we didn't quite know which one to choose to do all the elements. So of course we can do that at some time later. I just wanted to set up that this is just your refresh that you're going to be looking at. So Laura, please.
Hello. So we started, unfortunately we only had Allie for one day, so I collaborated with her and we came up with some new color palettes for you to work off of. We softened up the red, so there it is a red option, knowing that you kind of wanted to stick with that color since it's what you're known for. And then we offered a kind of an opposing cooler color, which is a teal palette. And then we came up, I think, with 4 options it ended up with. And we just wanted to simplify the logo and make it good at different sizes and incorporate a musical note without having it be kind of too juvenile, to like modern it up and then make it more professional. So this is option 1, I think.
And then we put it into different scenarios.
So with each logo, we have a logo mark for you as well that you can use on the different social media, like Instagram, Facebook, to have just as a little icon that will be recognizable. This I think is Allie's, so I can't really speak to the logo mark, but I know she was going in more of a hand-drawn kind of direction. And then we have a couple of mock-ups for how it will look if you embroidered it on a shirt, or I think the next one, oh, if you wanted to implement it on social media. This is fun. I don't know what to expect on the next slide. So this is another one of Allie's mock-ups, logo concepts. And I think she was, again, doing the hand-drawn element with some musical notes to make you a recognizable mark. And this is the 3rd of Allie's. So I believe she was trying to make another hand-drawn element that'll be recognizable. I don't want to repeat myself over and over again. I didn't get enough information to know everything she was thinking, but she had a lot of really great hand-drawn marks for you to work with.
And then what I did is I comped up the 2 other ones.
Okay. So this is kind of what you have now. It's just a little bit different, more simple. We actually had this in 2 different weights, so we were going back and forth between if we wanted the fat children or the thin children because the font weights were different. So, and this is the other rendition that I came up with, and it's just simple treble clef with the children's chorus, so it'll be easy to read. And here's everything together, so you can compare them all.
We were thinking the illustrative ones were going more toward, it wasn't as professional as the more lined ones. But there is still some artistic element in what we do. I sing as well, so I say what we do. There is an artistic element, an expressive element that is there. So I was kind of driving toward that more like a little modern, and then a little bit of artisticness, artistry in the logo.
Mm-hmm.
But we put the current logo in the middle at the bottom so we can compare them all and how they look. And I do believe these pull out the professionalism of the group.
Yeah.
This is not your neighborhood. Well, it is your neighborhood chorus, but it is, you know, it's something to contend with. And I know we have choir here. That didn't change. but it's supposed to be chorus. We also came up with a tagline. We were kind of going through some, we came up with something. We thought we would throw it in here. It was an afterthought, but we liked it, or I liked it so much that I thought I would throw it on there. When I thought of, actually, it was Cole who brought up being on key. To me, being on key means being on target with what your mission is. That is the whole anti-bullying thing, community, the three lenses that we talked about, the community, the professionalism, and the joyousness that we were calling enrichment. So that there's many voices on key, meaning on mission. I don't know. I liked it. And we thought we would put it in there because, I don't know, it could be award winning. Who knows? I'm an award winning kind of guy, so it could be one of those things. And I'm going to pass it back to Cole for the next steps.
Perfect. So just the whole structure of this weekend, we know it's a lot. There's a lot of things to consider. You have to take this back, review with your board of directors, whoever your decision makers are. Could be you. If you operate in silo, fantastic. We can do it right here and now. But what we thought is let's give you next steps so that now you can take this. Once you have decision on a logo or variation, we can, of course, help you build it out, and our contact information will be at the end. But we wanted you to say, okay, now that I have all this, what am I going to look to do? So first part would be updating across all your social media channels. Since that's where we're recommending our communications are going to start stemming from first until there's potential budget to do some paid media. Let's get a unified look and feel across all of our digital presence, since that's our main point of communication. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, that's updating our profile pictures, cover photos, aligning an organizational description if we want some award-winning tagline work thrown in there. But that's what we'd say, get ready first. And then once you've laid the groundwork, then we're building out the content calendar for the year. And so working with your team, whether it's you or someone else in the organization, start using those 3 buckets and building out your content. And so it starts off, it's just what you want to talk about, things to highlight, and then trying to keep it on theme so that you're not trying to make it up as you go, and you can pass us off to other people to say, hey, if you see something that falls into these 3 themes, let me know, and that way we can highlight it. So if we can help and advise, we'll have our contact information. So building content calendar is next once everything has a unified look and feel. And then partnerships. So this was one of our suggestions for another way to strengthen that perception of professionalism, but also the sense of community, was explore a direct partnership with maybe an adult organization. So one of the things that just came from our discussion that I really loved was how I saw it with the graduation ceremony, but how this isn't just, I did it for a year and I'm out. Like, the people that this really impacts are doing this through elementary school, middle school, high school, taking it with them to, I have a dog, taking it with them to, okay, the threat is gone. So they can take this experience and these skills with them through life. And I thought one of the ways that you could really highlight that without actually having to directly say, hey, look, this isn't just a one-time feel it out like summer camp thing. This is a lifelong skill, is if you can see those adult counterparts and the fact that this is something you can do for the rest of your life too. So I thought, okay, there's mentorship opportunities, and it also just the fact that adults are doing it, I think also elevates it. Because we talked about how sometimes you can think, okay, this is a bunch of children getting together singing. It's like, no, this is a professional environment. So that was our suggestion, explore it, but then partnerships can also, it's a little late for the mail, but they can also take this, and the partnerships could also encapsulate what you're working with for PR there. What you can do for PR or media outlets. So because we think the PR opportunities would be strong, I saw the video, kind of the Jimmy Fallon-esque heads and boxes singing on key. And that was a great PR opportunity. So build those partnerships out. Okay, and then a website redesign. So one of the things that will probably take a little bit of a budget, unless you can find someone to volunteer their time to do it. But our digital presence will look connected through our newsletter, through our social channels, but we'll still want to redesign the website. And I believe we mocked it up. Did that make it into the presentation? I know it was a little late when we decided to try and do that. No, okay, I'm getting head shakes. But we wanted to redesign the website to align across the brand. So if we can get board approval for some budget for that, then we can modernize it. There is some discussion about redundant links, cleaning up the flow, user experience, etc. So that would be one of those next steps. You don't necessarily need to do it to get started, but we would recommend it. And then future activation considerations. So there's a COVID specific fundraising efforts, the one-on-one lessons for donors. The instructors can teach an adult via Zoom, like a private lesson. We're spitballing here, but we thought we had a really great brainstorm. We wanted you to benefit from it. Mini shows and outdoor venues, including large open areas as restrictions shift. So I know when I went to Zocalo, all that street is blocked off and it's the outdoor dining, and there was a live band, and don't know if they showed up and decided to start playing or if all of the restaurants were in on it, but it's an opportunity potentially to be able to socially distance, but get some experience in front of a live audience in a safer environment because they could be outdoors. So, and then parent, student, alumni, brand advocates. Use engaged parents and students like mini influencers. Again, this is building on our word of mouth inflow of potential new students. And then you can actually tag the organization, focus on your local hashtags, local organizations, engage with them, connect with them. And then an advocate toolkit. So if you build out content moving forward, actually start saving those in templates that a press kit or a parent can access and share information quickly. So you mentioned you built flyers for the schools. Keep those on hand in digital versions. So if someone wants to share information, we're not starting from scratch and recreating the wheel. It's a quick forward or a quick link send and then download from Google Share Drive or Dropbox or something along those lines.
So Daphne, thank you very much. It was a great opportunity to work on this. I just want to let you know that we are still available for you. We know that there's some, you might have to look at these logos, pick which one you want, but our artists were willing to work past today to come up with templates and help you out, because I know you're a party of one when it comes to being the marketing person.
Yes.
But thank you.
Thank you. No, this is great. I love everything and great ideas and good reminders about things. So it's great. Thank you. And I liked working with your team yesterday. It was fun.
Awesome. Well, all three teams need a huge round of applause. So clapping, cheers, emojis, volume on, volume off, whatever. Just a really, really, really great weekend and just a lot of hard work that went into this. So I'm so proud of everybody who participated, and the three nonprofits were just, what a crazy time this is. And you guys are leading nonprofits that really contribute to the community, that help protect people, that help enrich people, encourage people to stay positive. And now more than ever is when we can help. And so this was quite a challenge to do it virtually. And we really came together over the course of the weekend, really leading up to this I guess it was last March that we started talking, but there's been close to 35 volunteers that have been a part of this. So we just can't thank all the volunteers enough. I want to give another big shout out to Drew and Katie and Alora, who really helped fine tune the presentation templates, and all of the veterans who have come back year after year. There's quite a few veteran volunteers here. So for the 3 nonprofit leads, this is a nationally awarded program. So the fact that we have veterans coming back year after year and donating their time is just a real attribute to the community that we live in and the creative, supportive people that we surround ourselves with. That's one of my greatest joys of being part of Ad Club and FREEThink, is that is empowering. It's empowering being around you guys. So thank you. And we will be in touch with all the contact information, as many folks have mentioned. We've recorded this presentation for anyone who is even curious about seeing their presentation skills from a professional development standpoint. We'll get that accessible to you. Next steps for all of the assets, your team leads and myself will be rounding up. There's some word on the street about a social distancing thing for FREEThink. If you have an interest in that, we will be looking at that, maybe something in McKinley Park, a BYOB type of situation. And that's really it. I want to open the floor. I know we're past time. If there's anything anybody wants to share, I have a quick 3-question poll for the volunteers before you log off. That'd be great. But just wanted to open it up. If anybody wants to give thanks, or if there's any questions for next steps, now would be a great time. Nothing. Wow.
I want to give a
just
quick shout out to Heather real quick, because this is not an easy thing to throw together, and she made it look like it was just done like that. This takes not just weeks, but months, but collaboration across agencies, across volunteers and media partners and logistics and technology and it takes a universe of people together. So it's not easy, and I'm going to cheer because it is really a lot of work, and I can't thank you enough, Heather, for putting this together again this year. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, just thanks again. I mean, this is so great. I really appreciate that you guys take the time to just offer up your brain power. I mean, it's really, really helpful. And I know this is going to be stuff that's going to be very, very helpful for us, for especially going into a really challenging year next year. So thank you very much. We really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. I appreciated hearing everybody's as well. I thought there were so many different great ideas across the board, and how we're nowhere near where either of the other 2 organizations are, but when we get to those points, how we could think about doing other things in the future. It's really exciting.
Awesome. Well, great. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to throw up a quick poll just for fun. See you all hopefully soon. Enjoy your Sunday. Have some wine or beer. Enjoy the evening. Have a great week. And thank you again, sharing this poll. We'll hope it launches correctly. All right. Here we go. Are you seeing this? Cool. All right. Thank you, Logan, for the head shake. All right. Loving this. Very cool. Good.
Real quick, thanks for everyone for participating. I know for me, I was actually getting like anxious and like restless a few weeks before when Heather's like, oh yeah, we're still doing FREEThink, guys. And I'm like, oh crap, I totally forgot about it this year, because it's usually so much earlier in the year. So much has happened this year. Just really appreciate your guys' time and like energy, and everyone was in a good mood and so helpful and wanting to help out. It just makes me like really, I'm like Chrissy trying to like hold back some tears. Like, it's just really cool to just be able to have this opportunity. And despite all the challenges we all are facing this year with the pandemic and all, and just personally, just being able to set aside that and just take some time to contribute and give back. So just thanks again for everyone for volunteering. It means a lot. So just thank you.
Awesome. On that note, have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll see each other in community, and thank you again.
Thanks, guys. Take care.